Boris Johnson is under mounting pressure to intervene to end the A-level chaos as anger grows among pupils and teachers over unfair results. As MPs are expecting some kind of a change to come on exam results as early as today, exam regulator OfQual is facing criticism over the statistical model it used to decide the grades. Now, ministers are being urged to delay the publication of GCSE results due on Thursday until the problems with A-levels have been sorted. Northern Ireland has announced that there'll be no use of algorithms to adjust grades. Instead, they will abide by the grades awarded by teachers. Our political correspondent Iain Watson reports.
Protests at Westminster this weekend highlighted the anger and disappointment of school students who didn't get the A-level grades they expected. Legal challenges are also likely. Using an algorithm, OfQual, the exams regulator in England, downgraded 280,000 A-level results from teachers' assessments, almost 40% of the total.
I received B, C, D in my A-levels, which are lower than my centre-assessed grade and mock results. This meant I didn't get my firm and insurance universities.
The grades that my teachers submitted this year for me were A-star AA. And had I gotten these, I would have met my offer and gotten into Cambridge. However, after standardisation, I received AAB, which meant that I was rejected.
Guidance on how to appeal against lower than expected grades was withdrawn at the weekend, and revised advice is expected soon. But it's not just the students who are growing restless, so too are a growing number of Conservative MPs.
People knew this day of A-level results, they knew the day of GCSE results months ago, and find ourselves now where here we are the Monday after A-level results, worrying that there isn't a proper appeals process in place, and now worrying that there is not enough confidence in the system about GCSEs, frankly, is simply unacceptable.
And in a tweet, the government minister, Penny Mordaunt, made it clear she wanted more to be done for bright, capable students to go to university or further education this year. And head teachers at English grammar schools have joined the chorus of criticism. In a statement, they say a great injustice has been done and the way results were assessed has led to utterly baffling outcomes for many students. This week, GCSE results are due to be published in England, Wales and Northern Ireland. This morning, education ministers in Northern Ireland said these results would be based on teachers' assessments alone, putting more pressure on the government to follow suit in England. Under pressure, the Scottish Government has already announced that exam results there will be based on the grades predicted by teachers, and Labour say A-level results in England should now be decided in a similar way.
The government should use teacher-assessed grades in respect of A-level students, underpin that with an appeal system in case a student feels that their teacher-assessed grade isn't correct. But now, of course, we don't know what sort of appeal system students are going to be relying on.
The Department for Education says that hundreds of thousands of school students in England already have the grades they need to continue with their education or to seek employment. But some MPs are privately confident that the government will make more substantial changes. And that's because the perception that bright kids from poorer backgrounds could be losing out is politically toxic. But some believe confidence in the system has already been badly dented.
The public is losing confidence in the system, and it is up to OfQual, which I know is working very hard. It's up to OfQual and especially the government to try to put in place something that will claw back some of that public confidence. I'm afraid it will not be able to claw back all of it.
In order to learn, we need to use it!
These students believe the government so far has failed the fairness test, and pressure for a revision of the system is increasing. Iain Watson, BBC News.
Well, let's speak to Ian in Westminster. And is something about to give?
I think there certainly is going to be some movement later today, Simon. The pressure's been growing. It was interesting that Boris Johnson, who is currently on holiday, made time to speak to the Education Secretary this morning and to senior officials at the Department for Education. What I can tell you already is that calls for delays in publishing the GCSE results later this week on Thursday in England, Wales and Northern Ireland have been rejected. You'll remember the former Conservative Education Secretary, Lord Baker, was amongst those calling for that delay until the A-level problems were sorted out. But those results will go ahead. The key question, though, is on what basis? Will it be based on teachers' assessments alone? Will it use a revised version of this controversial algorithm from the exams regulator OfQual? And at a lobby briefing, a briefing for political journalists today, the Prime Minister's spokesman was repeatedly asked if there would be a U-turn. The only answers that were forthcoming were that this was a fair system that was being sought and that children have had a very difficult year. So it sounds as though there is likely to be more movement, and certainly from conversations I've had with Conservative MPs, there is an expectation that there will be further changes from the government. One of them said to me that he thought it was inevitable that the Scottish system, the teacher assessments, would have to be adopted in England too. It's been a very difficult year, certainly for children, but also a very difficult political problem for the government, because Boris Johnson was elected, of course, last year, taking seats historically represented by Labour on an agenda where he said he would level up the country, and yet the criticism consistently over the past few days that some of the most disadvantaged pupils are those who are losing out on the chance of going to university. So I do feel, Simon, that something is going to give.
Iain, thank you very much. Well, let's get more on the situation in Northern Ireland and Wales with our correspondent Chris Page. He's in Belfast, and Thomas Morgan, who's in Cardiff. And Chris,